Live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's Nuganomics with David Tulis.
Our argument is full of weakness, and that's why I like it, and that's why I want you to consider it. It's weak because it doesn't use force. It doesn't use the power of the great ones. It doesn't use statutes. It doesn't use subventions. It doesn't use taxes and great sweeping armies of regulators and 82nd Airborne Divisions and the like. Our theory is weak because we think that near is better than far, that small is better than big, and that simple is far richer and far more valuable than complex. And down in the footnotes where the fleas fight with their scimitars and their javelins, we've got that personal is better than corporate, and that physical is better than abstract. Now, these are not universal truths at every point, but if you assemble them together, you have in effect the argument for Nuganomics. And Nuganomics is the argument that we espouse here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, where we suggest that you love your neighbor and buy local. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, the station for the man who matters. And I'm the editor of Nuganomics.com. And Nuganomics is the idea of local economy and the free market. And what we are excited by are mundane things, right? Weak things, dreary and ordinary things that escape notice, that are really not part of the media, right? The media doesn't pay any attention to them because they are kind of trivial, right? They're just personal details. They're part of economic trivia. You could say footnotes, right? At 7-point footnote size on the report is all that they amount to. But in the end, I think that the footnotes and the common man such as Pat McKenna, they are in a way our salvation. By that I mean, if men like you, my listener, do what Pat McKenna does, and even Tetzel Tillery, the police officer whose name you may know from having read news reports of the past 25 years, you and Pat McKenna and Tetzel Tillery are doing something that's really important, and that is finding new people to serve and making yourself more valuable to more people. Right now, Pat McKenna is a minister of the gospel. He oversees God's people at Mountain Creek Baptist Church, and has been he's been 25 years in youth ministry. And he came recently to Red Bank for Pastor Dooley, and when Pastor Dooley moved on, he didn't follow and he stayed. And Pat is married. He's a 49-year-old man. His wife Jana and he have 4 children, 2 daughters and 2 sons. And he's remarkable in another way. He has 3 jobs, and then he and his wife have a 4th job, and that is home education. They are homeschool parents who believe in the local economy argument that is essentially we can do it ourselves and we can do it here, and we don't need outside experts to make home life better, right? We don't need the expert to tell us which books to read, which histories are important, which theories of creation are accurate. We don't rely on the experts. We make our own decisions. And there's something wonderfully American about that. Well, Pat, tell us just quickly, you're a man with 3 jobs, and here I suggest homeschooling is the 4th one. Tell us about the main job that you have, your main gig.
Well, my main gig is being a pastor at Mountain Creek Baptist Church. That's my first love and my calling, and I every day prepare and work for presenting the word on Sunday, and then also presenting teaching on Wednesday. Unfortunately, because it's a small church, it doesn't allow me to use that as my only source of income, so I have other jobs outside that help supplement what I love to do. Well,
we're going to hear about those, but now on the job of being a minister, what essentially is the job? Is it speaking for an hour every Lord's Day? Is that the delivery of your preparations? Tell us about that, and also tell us about preparations. When do you prepare? Where do you prepare? What kind of materials you have to make you a successful minister of the gospel?
Well, I think, being a minister is a lot of things to a lot of people, but I think what I get out of it through God's word is that I'm called to equip people to go out and do ministry as a pastor. A lot of people think the pastor's supposed to do all the ministry, do all the visits, and go out and lead people to the Lord. But actually, I try to equip my people to do that ministry. So I spend a lot of time in prayer, in preparation for helping in that process of equipping them. I also do visitation as well and share the gospel with people. But I probably spend about 20 hours in preparation for my sermon each week. That could be as simple as reading over the passage, 10 to 12 times, or actually looking up information on that.
So you consult commentaries and theological works that help you understand that passage better and make its message most useful for the explanation of the reading that coming Lord's Day.
Absolutely. Use all the resources that God has, made available to me.
So you're not one of these ministers who just blindly opens the Bible, reads the passage, and then say, "Well, I'm going to wait for the Holy Spirit to inspire me as to what this means and what used to make of it."
Well, I do that as well, too. That's why I read over that passage, 15 to 20 times, is because I believe that God will reveal truths to me that might not even be in the commentaries. But the commentaries are going to give me historical perspective. They're going to give me other information that I might not be aware of through the text itself.
To make the message more supple, to make the message more accurate, more penetrating to your listeners, right? Because that in the end is your success as a minister are the people who are hearing me and their faces looking up to me here in the pulpit, the engine of Reformation. Are they taking what I'm saying? And of course, in your case, it's not just a mechanistic operation. You have the Holy Spirit that makes what you have to say effective in the listener, right? It's not just a matter of transmitting information, right? Like a newspaper editor or a talk show host.
Yeah, I'll have people that'll come up and say, "Pastor, really touched me when you said this." And I search my notes to see where I even said that. I mean, the Spirit reveals the truth of the Word, and that's the great thing about the Word is it's alive and active, and you see that when you present the Word.
Well, I guess I don't suppose there's any other line of work that has that kind of support from the spiritual realm in the object of the work. There's I don't think I have that prosperous benefit of the Holy Spirit in what I'm doing. But the gospel ministry, of course, is preserved. It is unique. It is unique calling in human history, and so it has a special, very high obligations involved in it, and then the special helps as well. So we're talking with Pat McKenna, who's a minister and a homeschool dad of 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters. Now, there's another line that you have, which is very interesting. Tell us about how you got this job as effectively a limousine driver. Is that it? Is that fair to call it that?
I had been out of work for a while. Been doing evangelistic ministry, which basically means when I have an opportunity to speak somewhere, I speak there and promote myself as that. And we needed extra income coming in, so I sent out resumes to every driving job place that I could think of. Because I have a CDL, a commercial driver's license, and didn't hear back from anyone. About 2 months later, it's about prom season, I get a call from Michael Moore at Executive Valet and Limousine Service, and he'd asked me to come on board, and I've been working for him at the limo company ever since.
And how long has that been?
It's been about 3 years now that I've been working for him.
And so, what do you drive around wealthy industrialists to Atlanta, or where do you go and whom do you take?
Yeah, I drive everybody, believe it or not. I drive people that really probably don't have enough money to afford the limo, but they want to splurge for their wife because they love her and it's their 25th anniversary or something. And then I drive, people who have more money than they know what to do with. And a lot of times I'm a designated driver. I'm making sure people get home safe. But we take a lot of airport runs. And the thing I love about the limo job is it's another opportunity for me to minister. There have been many opportunities in doing that where I get to share my faith with people. And so it gives me another opportunity to do what I love.
How long are these cars and how hard is it to make a sharp right-hand turn?
Well, some of them look like a regular sized car. If it's the Executive L, it's just a 6-inch stretch on a town car. Looks like a normal car. That one drives like a normal car. And then he's got, up to like 30 feet. Lincoln Navigator, it seats 14 people. And that one, you need to be a little careful going around corners.
In that field, do you ever have customers who ask just for you, Pat McKenna, or do they not care who the driver is?
Yeah, there are people that I drive specifically. They'll call and ask if I'm able to do the job. And if I can, I do.
So there's a personal connection in that man's business, even though you're not the owner. You work for him. You're the employee, I guess, right? Are you a contractor or an employee?
Well, I'm a 1099.
1099. Okay, so you're a contractor. So you're an equal. You're kind of an equal then.
Yes.
You're not subordinate to the owner, and so you have these relationships that you create over time with your passengers. So and how many hours a week, Pat McKenna, do you drive?
Well, on a good month,
service?
I'd put in about 40 hours, so 10 hours a week on average. This week I drove yesterday. I'm driving tomorrow, and then I'll drive 2 jobs on Saturday.
Now, my listener and I have all had we've both had the problem of CDs or DVDs that have something important to us on them, but there's a scratch, and the scratch seems to be wherever the beginning or the end of this particular digital document. What do you do that could help solve that kind of problem? Because that's your number 3 job, if you will. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that one I work out of my home, and I have a machine that repairs scratches on CDs. I say that repairs scratches on CDs. Most people flip their CD upside down when they don't set it in its case. They set it on the top side because they think that's the safest way to do it. Actually, that's the quickest way to destroy a CD. The polymer on the top is very thin, and it gets down into the media if you scratch the top. I can't fix those. But if you scratch the bottom, the playable side, the silver side, that can be fixed. There's lots of polymer there, and I have a machine that sands off micro amounts of that polymer and removes the scratches and allows it to play again. And you can repair a CD probably up to 20 times in a situation like that. There's enough polymer to do that.
And so if it's a music CD, is there a loss of quality?
No, you won't lose any quality because
with the repair?
The media is the silver part that you see, and there's a clear polymer in between that media that protects the CD. So if you were to flip over a CD and you look and you see that silver reflective point and you scratch the CD, you don't scratch the silver, you scratch the polymer. So all I'm doing is repolishing that polymer.
So the polymer is not crucial for the sound?
No, it is not. It's the media that's reading. And what happens is when the laser hits the scratch, it distorts the laser, and that causes it not to read the media correct. That's why you have the error messages, or it skips or does anything like that. We're taking that scratch out so that the laser can penetrate to the media and read it correctly.
So your machine straightens out the soft part of the readable side of the
it actually sands the surface and removes the scratch.
Does your device read the music or the lecture that's being given, or does it not go that far down?
No, it doesn't have any reading devices at all. It's really a very expensive fine-tuned sanding machine is what it is.
So how does it work? You just put a CD in there and go and get a cup of coffee, or do you have to control it somehow?
You can buy those machines if you have about $20,000 or $30,000, where you can put in 50 discs and walk away and do whatever you want, come back and they're all clean. Unfortunately, I don't have that kind of machine. I have a more labor intensive, and obviously if it's more labor intensive, the machine costs less. So I actually, on one machine, I have to replace the pads. I have to pull up. I start with the blue pad, let's say, and that's the heavy grit. Yeah, the heaviest sanding disc. And then what you do is you go from heavy to lighter sanding to actually a polish on the very end. So could be a 5-step process depending on how bad.
For one disc.
Yeah, depending on how bad the disc is scratched. If it's lightly scratched, it might be a 2-step process. I did upgrade and buy another machine. I have 2 machines now. The second machine, I actually put the disc in, punch a button, and it goes through the 4 cycles of cleaning. If I have to do a 5th cycle, there's a little manual thing I have to do on that. And so I can walk away from that for the 2 minutes or whatever that takes to clean the disc.
Well, it sounds very labor intensive, and you can't make a living doing that retail. It doesn't sound like.
Yeah.
What happened?
When I bought this disc, I convinced my wife, hey, let's spend this money to make money. And, there's a little tension there with that. When I first bought it, I thought I was going to be cleaning discs for you, David. I was, the man that you're talking to today out there, and I would charge him $3. The problem is you can't get enough discs to clean and to make a living at it. So I had to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, how can I make money at this?
This was after your investment. How much was your investment on the first? How much did you spend on the first machine?
This machine runs about $3,000. So it's a fairly pricey machine for me.
So you had the wrong idea when you bought this device, kind of how that market would work. So you're making an adjustment after launch.
Yes, I am. So
talk
that I can say to my wife, hey, this was a good investment. So what I did then was I began to realize that I could buy discs that didn't work from people. If you had a bunch of discs that were scratched and didn't work, you would be willing to sell them for anything to get rid of them because they don't work. I could then buy those discs, resurface those discs, and then resell those discs. So where, let's say I made $2 on a disc cleaning it for you, I charged you $3 and made $2 by the time I went through everything. I could buy a disc from you that maybe is worth $10
You paid me how much?
50 cents,
50 cents
maybe.
Okay.
For the disc, and I'm usually buying hundreds of discs from people when I buy them, and then clean it, and then I could turn around and sell it for $8 or $9 and profit about $7 after I pay all the fees and everything I do to sell it.
And that's where at what forum that you sell?
I currently sell mainly through Amazon. I sell discs that wouldn't sell through Amazon through eBay. So typically, if I'm selling them on eBay, I'm moving them in bulk. And
do you sell in bulk too, or do you sell title by title?
Yes. So when I buy discs from you in bulk, if I came and I bought 200 discs from you, statistically, it works out that about 3 out of every 10 discs I can sell on Amazon. That gives me 7 discs that I can't sell. So I'll bulk those up and sell them on Amazon in hopes to get back the 50 cents a piece that I
So you sell. How does that work? Then you sell like you sell. Are these DVDs or CDs?
DVDs, CDs,
okay.
Computer discs.
So you sell like a pack of 5 adventure movies, right, or 5 westerns? Is that how you sell?
Yeah,
these
I'd probably sell
5 lectures
more.
on making a living.
I'd probably put 50 of them together on eBay and sell them in bulk. What I'm doing is I'm selling to the guy who sells at the flea market.
Oh, okay.
He's going to buy them. He's going to take them out, set them in the flea market, and sell them to people that are coming out the flea market.
At $4 a piece.
Yeah.
And at the end, you, my listener, go to the flea market and you buy a great movie for $4 that you had always thought you'd want to see, like Eraserhead or something like that. And there it is. And it came through a long process from the investment machine, the investment property of Pat and Jana McKenna. So what was the tension that you had with Jana, Pat, about buying this machine for $3,000 and not knowing where it was going to go? What was her hesitation, and how did you overcome that selling objection, that sales objection?
We knew that we were going to be, Dr. Dooley had left the church, and we knew that we were going to be leaving Red Bank to seek ministry, doing ministry somewhere else. When you're working under a leader with a specific vision, it's very difficult to have a new leader come in with a different vision and sometimes work under that. So we were making move to transition out of that. And I wanted to buy the machine because I knew that there might be some times when we need to make extra income. The thing of it was, we were spending $3,000 on a machine, which, is 3 months of fair income for us, 3 mortgages or whatever. And so my wife was hesitant to do that at first. But after we talked about it and prayed about it, I kept saying, this money will make back plus more in the long run.
Well, I still have that tension in my house. My wife, Jeanette, I have to convince her that what I'm doing, investing in my radio station, is really investing in my listener, and that I will be rewarded eventually with revenues and advertising sales, and being able to pay myself and have an estate. I mean, I'm confident that I have to spend money now to build up a business that has a real service and has a market, and that will, as it goes along, rewards me. And you're doing the same thing with your wife. My wife's hesitation was, well, those are our savings.
Yes, yeah, and that was the same with us.
It is denuding to some extent our ledger. Yes. and that's our children's money, right? And am I somehow doing this because I'm looking just for myself, or is it really thinking ahead and investing in yourself? So my listener really should do what you do. You're investing in yourself, in your business, and it can expand. You have now a second machine.
I do, and that again.
And what's ahead?
Another crisis, because I wanted to move up to a more automated machine, which in turn cost more money, and we were just starting to make money. And she's like, okay, we're going to turn around and invest more money. But what it did was it doubled my production then. So when I'm sitting at the machine, instead of cleaning 1 disc, now I'm cleaning 2. I've doubled my production. And of course, the more product you have to get online, the more money you're going to make.
Well, this is David Tulis. We're talking with Pat McKenna, a minister. He's got 3 jobs. Now, listen, if you are interested in my radio station, I do have work for you, my listener. I'm looking for a good salesperson, and someone who loves local economy, someone who likes dealing with people, who wants to help people, because that is what I do here in radio, is in all of our media platforms. We have several media platforms which are just terrific and very relational. And Pat McKenna is doing the same thing. He wants at some point he's going to want help for your business, right? You'll have someone who represents you, right, and maybe who does some of the work for you part time.
Yeah,
and that's how it expands out, and you are able to create more value for more people.
Yes,
just as you do in your church, you hope more people will come to receive the value that you give by investment of your time in study and prayer and reflection on the great work of the ministry. Well, Pat, thanks for joining us here at AM 1240.
Thanks for having me.
My name is David Tulis. We've been talking with Pat McKenna. He and his wife our homeschool family, and he is the minister at Mountain Creek Baptist Church, the pastor at Mountain Creek. And he's involved in 2 other moonlighting out operations. He reconditions media, and he works as a driver 40 hours a month in a limousine and valet service that takes him a lot to the airport, and taking the wealthy of the world, the great people of the world, to and fro, and sometimes the hapless husband who wants to impress his wife that she is worth all this coming Valentine's. And so he's going to engage the valet service and have Pat McKenna drive him around. Do consider telling a friend about our station. We have a friend who made a jump to Hot News Talk Radio. That's Sean Hannity. He made the leap here. You have a friend who needs to make the jump too, to Hot News Talk Radio and all of our associated media platforms.